What's up, everyone? This is Isaac from Hunger Smash Fitness. I want to do a video series now where I actually want to talk about fat loss, how to lose weight and burn calories. So you've probably all heard more times than you'd like to care that the biggest way to lose weight is just to be in a calorie deficit. And a lot of that, I feel like people will go back and forth. They'll go to extremes. So for a little while, they'll be in a massive caloric deficit, which makes them completely miserable because they don't plan it out. They don't realize how many calories they actually need and manage that. So they go into a massive caloric deficit, makes them completely miserable. They lose a bit of weight, and then they basically celebrate by splurging and they gain all the weight back. So it gets into this rhythm where they lose weight, lose weight, gain weight, called yo-yo dieting a lot of the time. So what I find is much more beneficial is to actually find a diet that you can maintain indefinitely. You want to pick something where instead of putting on these massive restrictions that is just going to make you binge at the end of it, learn to control your intake. Learn to control what you're eating. Find something where you can actually sit here and say, okay, this is how much I'm eating. Once I've lost a little bit of weight, I can cut just a little bit more. And so it doesn't have to be drastic, but it's these small steps. What you're going to find is that consistency is going to pay off far more in the long run than drastic restrictions. Because drastic restrictions are just going to make you want those donuts, make you want that Coca-Cola, make you want all that sort of stuff that much more. So instead, focus on just cutting out little things in your diet, just a little bit at a time, to try and get that caloric deficit. And it doesn't have to be massive. I would say find out what you're eating right now, take off maybe 100, 200 calories. You don't want it to be a massive jump, okay? Because you don't want your body to reject it and go into a fight or flight style mode. So focus on that. Just small reductions, a little bit at a time. That's kind of what my whole channel is about, improve 1%. So you're just doing these minor reductions, trying to get your body to accept it, get it to enjoy that reduction. And then as you feel better, then you can, cut a little bit more out at a time. You don't want to be making these drastic changes where you're going to drop 30 pounds in a month or something like that. Because even if you do that, it's probably going to be a lot of water. You're going to be dehydrated. You're going to be flat. All the carbs and everything else are going to drop. And then at the end of that time, you're just going to gain it all right back. So I would strongly advise against doing that. Try and find something, pick a diet that you can do consistently and that you can stick to. Don't try and find something that is going to make you feel that you're doing something really good, but in the long run you just can't maintain that. So while keeping that in mind, you also want to make sure that you're keeping in mind to keep your protein up. A lot of people, I feel like especially women, are protein deficient. They're not getting enough protein in their diet. And if you want to be burning calories, but keeping that muscle mass, because you want to keep the muscle mass up while burning the fat. And so if you want to do that, you want to make sure that you're getting in enough protein to actually maintain that muscle mass. So a lot of this goes back to BMI versus RMR, okay? So BMI is your body mass index. I think it is the worst possible method of measuring your body composition because all they're doing is taking your height and taking your weight. According to BMI, I think I'm at like 30%, 36% body fat, which puts me at basically morbidly obese, okay? And then I go and take the calipers and measure, and I'm at 18 to 20, somewhere in that range. So yeah, I'm not at 36% body fat. Now, granted, I have been trying to gain weight. So currently I'm at about 300 pounds. But that doesn't mean that it's all fat. Some of it's muscle, some of it is fat. I mean, granted, I was overeating for a while to gain weight. So yeah, some of it is fat, some of it is muscle. But what I'm saying is BMI puts me at morbidly obese, and I know that I am not morbidly obese. So don't look at the BMI chart to see where you're actually at. If possible, go and get calipers and have a professional actually measure you. Or if you have the ability to do it with the water tub, the water displacement, that's probably the most accurate method. But calipers are much cheaper. You can buy a pair on Amazon. There's instructional videos on how to use them. A lot of trainers and stuff know how to use them, so you could find one of them, talk to them, see if they can actually get you measured. And I feel like that's a much more accurate method. The neck and waist measurement is not very accurate. I would not go with that. So anyways, don't look at your BMI. One thing that I would be monitoring is your RMR. So it's resting metabolic rate. And you can actually get that, you can actually get your metabolism measured, see how fast your metabolism actually is. Check your resting metabolic rate, or your basic metabolic rate, either of those, BMR, RMR, and see how many calories you're actually burning each day, okay? So look at that measurement, look at how many calories you're actually burning each day just being alive, okay? And go from there to actually see how much food you need, okay? Now it's going to vary. If it's going off of body weight, it's going to guesstimate how many calories you need. If you have more muscle, then that number is actually going to be higher. If you have more fat, that number is actually going to be lower. So the RMR can give you a good guesstimate. Obviously, the best way to check is to actually go and get your metabolism checked, get a bunch of blood work done. It's an expensive process, not necessarily optimal, but if you go online, you can look, there's some BMR calculators, RMR calculators, and it can give you a ballpark to play with. I would say that is one of the best tools that you have, is to actually see how many calories is my body actually using every day, instead of just looking at your BMI and guessing, on a 2,000 calorie diet. So in short, first video, I want to do a whole weight loss series, but the first video, be in a calorie deficit if you want to lose weight, not a drastic one. Preferably only 200 to 300 calories below what your maintenance is, okay? So it's not a huge deficit. Make sure that you're keeping your protein up. If your protein's low, you're going to be losing muscle, and as you lose weight, you're going to lose some muscle anyways, but you want to minimize that muscle loss. And then check your BMR, check your RMR, and see how many calories you actually need. So that's all for today. Thank you, and this is Isaac from Hunger Smash Fitness. Remember to always improve that 1%.